all agree that the singing outlet commercial for AT&T or the iPhone is great. No, and don't try to be a Nickelback hater here where you act like you don't like it. It's a great commercial. At night, I remember when you and I were inseparable. Anyway, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to another video, and welcome to the official Wyatt's World 2023-2024 NFL Awards. I meant to do this last week, but I had to miss a day with the whole Denver trip, therefore I had to push it back a week, but we got 14 awards to hand out here. Some of them are made up, some of them are real. And before we get right into it, we're gonna go through my plugs, so don't forget to use code Wyatt's World on G Fuel or Prize Picks, where you can save yourself a discount on any G Fuel products or match up to $100 of your first deposit. Also, take advantage of the CMC free square that's coming up for this Sunday. He needs 1 yard for the entry to win. On top of that, I think the 2 entry basketball ones are the way to go. They're super easy. I just won $60 last night for nothing. Maybe I just got lucky, but I'm definitely gonna try it again tonight. Anyway, that's all I got for plugs. Let's get into the video. Alright, so first awards do not actually exist in the NFL. I just made them up. However, this will be the first time I ever hand them out on this channel. So, the first award we are going to be doing is the biggest player that I was wrong about. Meaning I was bashing them and slandering them all off season, and then this year they came with a right hook and knocked me flat on my ass. Runner up for the award, Brian Robinson on the Commanders. I was wrong about you. Now, even though he didn't do anything crazy number-wise, he still had right around 1,000 all-purpose yards, averaged 4.1 yards a carry, and had 9 total touchdowns. That is way better than I ever thought he would have done. However, he isn't the winner. The actual winner of the award, you guys can probably guess it, it is Najee Harris. Now, I am gonna stick with one thing, and I think Steeler fans will even agree. The guy looks like he runs with stone in his shoes. He looks like he's wearing jeans. He looks awkward when he's running, but nonetheless, for the 3rd straight year, he rushed for 1,000 yards, averaged a career-high 4.1 yards a carry, and also a career-high 8 rushing touchdowns. No matter how he looks when he plays, he is not a bad running back, and Najee Harris, I apologize. All right, now following up, we've got the biggest player that I slandered all offseason who I was right about. Now, I know a lot of you guys are expecting me to say Christian Watson, but I'm not gonna do that. Even though I have been correct on my statement on him so far, there's one player who I notoriously said over and over and over and over again was going to suck this year. I said it would take fans about 2 snaps to realize how bad he actually was. And that is none other than Alexander Mattison, the Minnesota Vikings running back who finished with 0 rushing touchdowns on the year. The guy hasn't been a productive runner since 2020. How is he just gonna turn it around this year? He wasn't. And I'm clearly not a Vikings hater. You cut this arm open, it's gonna be blue and red. You cut this arm open, it's gonna be purple and yellow. It's reality. He's a fantastic guy, but he's not a #1 running back. All right, next award we have is Biggest Bomb of the Year. And if you guys remember, halfway through the season, I gave this one to Delvin Cook. I'm gonna give it to someone new now, but what this award is someone who was acquired to a team in the offseason, and they were supposed to make a huge difference, and ended up just shitting the bed. This award is actually going to a coach, and you can probably guess him now with the look on my face. Congratulations, Sean Payton, you've outdone yourself. Now, was there slight improvements with the Broncos' performance? Yes. But not even close to the value you gave up. You gave up a 1st and 2nd round pick for the guy. And what has he done? He's gotten rid of the quarterback who you gave up an arm and a leg to get, and who did nothing wrong, by the way, all while still taking 3rd place in your division and finishing under 500. That is the definition of a bomb, a nuke. I'll tell you right now what he's the best in the world at, and it ain't coaching. He's a decent coach, but he's the best in the world at being an asshole. All right, now moving on, we've got the Most Overrated Player of the Year award. You know, I thought about this one long and hard. I almost said Austin Eckler. I almost said Kareem Hunt. I almost said Mike McDaniel. But no, there's one guy that I can't stand, and at the beginning of the year, I really liked him. I thought he was gonna go on to do great things, and after closely monitoring him this year, I've realized how big of a fucking joke he actually is, and that is none other than Derek Carr. He is a guy that people will Google his stats, look at the numbers, and go, oh, he's good, just like Carson Carson Wentz. This guy sucks. Now, every year I will give him credit. He has a 3 to 4 game stretch where he lights it up. But more times than none, he has fans pulling the hair out of their heads because he will either not see a wide open player or he looks like he willingly just throws the ball to a defender as soon as they hit the red zone. He's a box score quarterback, someone who looks good on paper, but when you actually need him to show up, you're getting nothing. And had his good stint not been at the end of this season, Saints fans would want him out more than they already do right now. Now moving on, we've got the most underrated player of the year. Again, I had to think long and hard about this one. I almost said Chris Godwin, but he's more underrated all time. I almost said Rashee Rice, but he's a rookie, so we can't really call him underrated yet. Almost said Romeo Doubs again, but no, I got someone new. I think the most underrated player in the league this year was James Conner. Would you have any idea that he averaged 5 yards a carry, had 7 touchdowns, and 1,000 rushing yards this year? Because probably not, unless you paid attention to the Cardinals. He also caught for a couple hundred and a couple touchdowns on top of that. What I'm saying here is that is the definition of underrated. He's putting up numbers similar to some of the best in the league and people aren't batting an eye about it. He just had the best rushing season of his career and it doesn't sound like anybody cares. Well, I care, James, and I was wrong about you years ago and I've already given you that apology. Congratulations on a great year, James, and I can be confident that any TikTok slideshows you see yourself on going forward should all be positive. All right, now we got the most improved team award. I think this is going to stay the same as to what I had mid-season, and it's the Texans, because how can't it be the Texans? They went from 3-13-1 to 10-7, a division title, and a playoff win. Next. And that'll bring us to the Breakout Player of the Year award. And calm down, Texan fans, because here is Nico Collins. He should have been the underrated player, but he's going to win this award, so I gave this to him instead. So right away here, I'm going to Google the definition of a breakout. It says suddenly and extremely popular or successful. He's been in the league for 3 years. His first 2 seasons without this new team, he only averaged 35 receptions, 450 yards, and 1 touchdown a season. Year 3, 80 receptions, 1,297 yards, and 8 touchdowns. And it goes beyond his numbers watching the catches this guy makes, the adjustments he makes mid-routes, turning around, laying out backwards. CJ Stroud fights to get the ball to this guy, and reasonably so, because if you give him an opportunity to catch the ball, he's gonna do it. Nico Collins, you were a dog this year, and you are without a doubt my breakout player of this season. All right, now we're moving on to the real awards, and the first one is the Comeback Player of the Year. Go ahead, shoot me. It's not Damar Hamlin. Does he have the comeback story of a lifetime? Absolutely. He died and came back to life. That is a miracle. And by the way, I would just like to add, I am sure as hell happy that miracle happened. But Comeback Player of the Year in football, to me, means something else. It means a player who has fallen off, gotten hurt, or stepped away from the game for a considerable amount of time and came back when no one expected them to do anything and lit it up. So no disrespect to Damar Hamlin and no disrespect to Joe Flacco, because my Comeback Player of the Year is Baker Mayfield. He deserves it. At least from me, he does. I had the guy as the worst quarterback in the league coming into this year. I didn't think the Bucs were gonna do anything. Like I said before, he wasn't perfect, but he showed grit, he showed fire, he showed passion, he never gave up, he won them a playoff game, and he shut me the fuck up. So technically, I could have been wrong about him and given him that award too, but I feel like this one is much more important. Baker Mayfield, you're the Comeback Player of the Year. Now that brings us to Coach of the Year, and I'm sorry, Shane Steichen. I know I said your name wrong too, but you're not going to win the award. Sorry, Matt LaFleur, who I was also wrong about. Sorry, D'Amico Ryans, because you really probably should win it. However, I'm going to give it to the guy who I think had it at midseason, and that is Dan Campbell. How can you not with the Lions where they are with how they look? This is the most successful that franchise has been since 1991. And just a heads up, people who are my age, like 27 years old, and they think 1991 was 10 years ago, I hate to break it to you, it's depressing, but it was 33 years ago! That speaks for itself. Dan Campbell, you are the Coach of the Year. And that'll bring us to Defensive Rookie of the Year. This one was tough. Jalen Carter had a great year. Joey Porter had a great year. Brian Branch had a great year. Will Anderson had a great year. But I'm actually going to give it to Devin Witherspoon. And the reason I'm going to give it to Witherspoon is how much he did and how little he played. This guy only started 13 games. He had a pick 6, a forced fumble, 16 pass deflections, 3 sacks, 8 tackles for a loss, 4 quarterback hits, and 56 solo tackles. I think the guy had a tremendous rookie season, and it's unfortunate Seattle didn't make it farther than they did. But I wouldn't be too upset thinking about your future, because you got a defensive guy who's not only disruptive in your secondary, but disruptive up front. Devin Witherspoon, Defensive Rookie of the Year. Now we've got my offensive rookie of the year, and this one is a no-brainer. It was my pick at the start of the year, and it's my pick at the end. It is CJ Stroud. Do you guys know his real name is Cornelius Jacoby Stroud? I'm just kidding, it's Coleridge Bernard Stroud, but this guy was a dog all year long. He did miss a few games, but that doesn't take anything away from him. Watching this guy play, you would swear he had played in the league for 10 years. He's smart, he makes unbelievable throws, finished with a passer rating of 100, 4,100 passing yards, nearly broke the rookie record. Tell me this guy ain't special, because you're gonna sound dumb. To help take that brand new team to where they were, you have gotta be the offensive rookie of the year. All right, and now moving on, we've got our NFL Defensive Player of the Year award, and this one was really, really hard. My heart wants to pick one guy, but I know my heart would be wrong to do it. So we're gonna go with the obvious choice. TJ Watt is the winner. I mean, if you're gonna try and say he's not one of the biggest difference makers defensively in the league, you're lying. I mean, not only did he lead the league with 19 sacks, this guy forced 4 fumbles, recovered 3 of them, one of them for a touchdown, had 19 tackles for a loss, 36 quarterback hits, and even had an interception. Like, it's unbelievably consistent, unbelievably good, and it's undeniable. You have to give him the award. But my runner-up, and it's not Myles Garrett, it is Antoine Winfield Jr. I was this close to giving him it. Antoine was such a big reason in the Buccaneers' defensive success. He was such a big reason in them getting to the playoffs. He played all year. He had 3 picks, 12 pass deflections, 6 forced fumbles, 4 fumbles recovered, 6 sacks, 76 tackles, 8 quarterback hits, and 6 tackles for a loss. He was everything to Tampa Bay. But when you're going up against a cyborg, an absolute robot, a machine, an F-150 like TJ Watt, well, as some would say, your arms are just a little bit too short to box with God. Now we've got our Offensive Player of the Year, and it's CMC, no brainer. Tyreek had a great year, but he wasn't CMC. 1,459 rushing yards, averaged 5.4 yards a carry, 14 rushing touchdowns. Oh, his receiving? 564 more yards and 7 more touchdowns. That is over 2,000 total yards and over 20 total touchdowns. Go to bed. And now we've got the last award, the infamous MVP, Most Valuable Player. People watching me or who have been watching me, you guys would know that typically when I go to big awards like this on my videos, I don't troll. I mean what I say. Meaning I full-fledged believe this. My MVP of this year is Josh Allen. This guy led the league in total touchdowns with 44. Led the league in total yards at 4,830. Third highest QBR, set an NFL record for rushing touchdowns by a quarterback. And he's got the second highest success rate out of a play and the lowest sack percentage out of a quarterback who has started as many games as him because you can't get the guy down. And I know Baltimore fans are gonna say, Lamar Jackson, if you watch him play, you would realize how valuable he is to us. Same shit goes for Josh Allen. You guys didn't watch him all year. Are you wrong for having Lamar as an MVP? No. And if he wins the award, which he probably will, I'm not gonna have any issue with it. But these are my awards, and Josh Allen, to me, did the most in the league this year. We would not have bounced back from 6-6 to win the division title and win a playoff game without him. Call me biased, that's my TED Talk. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen, for the annual Wyatt's World End of Year Awards. Hope you guys enjoyed this video and you didn't get too upset with it. If you want to show support, you guys already know what to do, and try to turn on that bell because I post as often as I can. However, with everything I just said, I'm going to get this edited so you guys can watch it on time. Have a great rest of your Tuesday, and as always, I will see you in the next upload.